But welcome everybody. Be sure to hit the like button. Be sure to hit the subscribe button.
I remember in middle school when you felt self-conscious if you were the last one to go through puberty. That really went topsy-turvy, didn't it?
Sometimes the house barrage, it's too much explaining yourself and it's too apologetic.
Be sure to hit the notifications bell.
I actually do believe Israel won't just bomb countless civilians.
Now be sure to tweet this out. Be sure to put this up on your Facebook.
You have to be kind to people. Be kind to the guys in this mess in the first place.
Put this up on your Reddit.
Chile is a country.
Be sure to cut and paste, a link to this to go into your favorite Facebook chat group.
It's good to see so many normal people in here.
Now, spanking isn't just my deep, dark personal secret. It's America's deep, dark secret.
I've never seen it explained so simply anywhere.
Put this on WhatsApp. Put this on Telegram. Put this on your favorite messenger app.
Hello and welcome to the Untitled Anarchist Seagull channel. I'm your host, an Untitled Anarchist Seagull called Elise. And, well, I was away last week, as I think you all know, and it seems like maybe a little bit of news happened while I was gone. Apparently, I've been reading that the best guy died. The best guy, the guy who was so good at politics. The guy who was gonna, heal our divisions by... What was it again? Saying lots of slurs and tripping up college freshmen in debates and telling vicious lies about marginalized people. That guy, the guy who did politics so well, the guy whose legacy we are all supposed to carry on. He's no longer with us. And wow. I mean, to think that you spend your entire career making millions of dollars inciting violence and then a violence happens to you. I mean, that is tragic in the Greek tragedy sense of the word, as in a tragic flaw that leads to the protagonist's downfall. And only in that sense. And of course, right-wingers have just been giving it all away in the past few days. I mean, first you have, the Merry Widow is having a GoFundMe. Charlie was worth $12 million bucks. And she gets all of that. She does not need a fucking GoFundMe, but you can bet dickheads are fucking donating to that. Steven Crowder, who is similarly, has in common with Charlie, also aka Hitler Junge Quecks, Kirk, that literally any shitty sports bar in the country contains at least one piss-drunk prick who could do exactly what he does as well as he does it. And he just happened to be in the right place at the right time to be the prick who is doing it. He updated his Twitter bio from number 2 conservative podcast to number 1 in a real hurry. And overall, the Fash cinematic universe is falling over itself to enact Ferengi morning rituals, as portrayed in Deep Space Nine. Everybody's trying to get a piece of him. Everybody's trying to see where the money will land. And apparently the money is landing on the Merry Widow. But, yeah. I mean, I think, and we've all been ordered to pretend to be sad. I mean, Trump ordered us to do it. The major TV networks are also ordering us to pretend to be sad and to pretend that we don't notice what's actually fucking going on here. And the reason that they're doing this, really, it seems to me, is for the benefit of the other far-right grifters in that space. Because one of the things that they're always saying, if you watch these motherfuckers, as I unfortunately do, because I've somehow decided that this is a thing I want to dedicate my life to, you'll find that they're constantly telling their audience of freaky fuckers who think it's gay to wipe your ass, that they're the normal ones, that most people think like they do, that they're the silent majority, actually. And, of course, the thing is, that narrative does not work very well if the people who are being fed it see that most people hear this news and go, "Who, Charlie who?" Or, "Oh, well, fuck that guy." I mean, sometimes chickens and roosting go together. It is very much for the benefit of trying to help them continue to pretend that they are not the reactionary freak fucks that we all know they are, and that they deep down, I think, also probably realize they are. But we really should shed a tear for Jank over at TYT. Some of you will remember that as part of his fash glands glazing spree, the Poly Markets Fash Glands Glaze-a-thon 2025, he went on the Charlie Kirk White Nationalist Grifting Hour to do a nice little glands glaze. And, you know, as you do, it was his diplomatic masterstroke, and the result of it I'm seeing here is that Dave Rubin is now blaming him for the fact that Charlie Kirk is dead. So that worked out really well. I mean, great. You killed your credibility to the point where it will never be restored, Jank. To the extent that it wasn't already wrecked by all the other bullshit you've done. And the result of it is that the people that you were trying to, like, hold a grifting olive branch to, now they're blaming you for this shit. So, I mean, I just think that's wonderful. So, sorry, Jank. I guess. So I thought we might actually look. Because he needs a fash glance to glens, glaze, glens. Jank went on Tucker Carlson. And we're gonna look at that.
You had this.
Here we go.
It's kind of famous exchange with him. I think it was 2018 at Politicon, and it got super heated and bitter, and it was like, I don't know, things were viral in 2018, but it was viral. And then things
were viral way before 2018, actually.
Back to a TP USA event, and I was amazed and impressed.
Okay, let me just say that anytime that Tucker Carlson is non-sarcastically impressed with you, you probably fucked up.
Both that he invited you and that you came?
I mean, I guess impressed is one word. I mean, it made an impression. It's like, first of all, it doesn't reflect well on him that he was invited in the first place, but it reflects even worse on him that he accepted.
And you still disagreed on some things, but it was, I mean, the tone was completely different. Can you?
Wow. Yeah, they were nice to each other and defeated the entire purpose of going to an event. Like, as I said at the time when this happened, there was one thing that you could possibly do that fit in with what he was claiming, what Jen was claiming he wanted to achieve with this, by going on that platform, and that would simply be to completely expose these assholes to their audience and show their audience that, show, like, the working class segment of their audience anyway, that they're being scammed, that they're being sold a bullshit line by people who absolutely do not have their best interests at heart. That would be the one valid thing you could possibly do on that platform. And instead, he didn't. He did the exact opposite. He sucked up to them.
Explain that, and better, and great, I thought.
Yeah. So first of all, in 2018, that was the Politicon that I debated you.
Okay. Sorry. We got along pretty well, as I remember.
Well, I mean, again, with the things that do not reflect well on him.
We did. And Charlie was debating my nephew Hassan, Hassan Piker, but I couldn't help myself because that's who I am. And in the middle of their debate, I said something to Charlie when I wasn't on stage. I was in the crowd.
Well, okay. What did you say though?
And he yelled at me, "I live like a capitalist every day, Chank." And then by the way, some people then thought that it was a racial slur. No, that was just my name.
Wait, he looks like a capitalist every day. I mean, he is one.
He was just slightly mispronouncing it. So then actually something happened in between.
I don't even understand. Why don't you say what you said? You remember what he said back? I mean, the whole exchange only makes sense if you actually put the first half in there.
That moment in Turning Point USA. America Fest. So we were at the RNC in 2024, and Charlie came by at our booth and said,
"Charlie,
hey, do you guys want to talk?"
And it's like, again, this does not reflect well what he's saying. The fact that he's willing to like engage with you, that is a sign that he realizes that he will not be called on his bullshit. Like, you should absolutely not be somebody like that is willing to engage with.
And we were a little bit taken aback by that. We were really surprised by it. And Anna and I, Anna Kasparian, my co-host on the Young Turks,
yes,
talked it over and said, yeah, we would like to talk. And so he came on the show, and so we had our disagreements. So
disagreements about what? This is the wild thing about the way he talks about this. Like, if you can actually look, if you go beyond like the sort of mainstream media fucking whitewashing of Kirk's record, and look at, there have been pieces out there detailing the stuff he actually said about, fucking so-called race science and gays should be stoned. Snopes had an article out where they said it's totally false that he said gays should be stoned. And if you read the article, what you find is that they actually refute their claim immediately. They actually have him specifically saying that the commandment that gays should be stoned is God's perfect law. And they do not explain why anyone should doubt that he meant that sincerely, because there is no reason. I mean, it's completely consistent with everything else he said on the subject. But they just decided to say that that's false, because they figure nobody will read the article. They'll just see the headline and think, oh, it's false, when they've confirmed, in fact, that it's true. I mean, why don't we hear about what those disagreements are? I mean, he's also...
It's interesting that you have me on here, partly for the reasons that, your friend texted you about. Oh, well, that's strange, right? Left and right.
Where's left in this conversation, though?
And so I don't agree with everything that you, Megan, and Scott said about Charlie.
I'm sure.
Like what? I mean, it's interesting because when people to the left of him say things that he doesn't like, he tends to be very, very specific and very nasty about it. He'll say shit about people's mental health and stuff. But when he's talking to fascists, and Tucker Carlson certainly is one of them, just as fucking Quex Kirk also was, just like the guy who got arrested for Brian Thompsoning him, also by all appearances it's fash on fash crime. Yeah, he just says, oh, we've had our disagreements. Nothing to draw attention to, nothing to actually say what the disagreements are. And again, that is very much for the benefit of his audience there. Because if he actually says what the disagreements are, if he says what the things are that he doesn't like, I mean, people say, they're immediately discrediting. They're totally disqualifying of this asshole as an interlocutor. But somebody pointed out, God, I don't remember who it was. I read it, and it's talking about, like, Gavin Newsom and his engagement on all this bullshit. And he said, the thing about the Democrats, the thing about liberals, is they assume that anyone who has a big enough following is automatically a legitimate interlocutor. Like, just immediately that makes them a legitimate person to involve in a conversation, regardless of who they are or what they fucking stand for.
Right, but I think that's what makes it more interesting. So
what are the disagreements, Jank? I'm gonna have to be the goose meme here? Like, what were the disagreements? Like, are you saying that maybe you don't think that gays should be stoned? Maybe you don't think that racial inferiority is a thing? Like, why didn't you get specific, Jank?
The willingness to talk to us, even though we were so entrenched on different sides. Right?
Different sides of what, though? It doesn't sound like it could be all that important to you if you won't even say what the sides are.
And so then when we started the conversation, what wound up happening, it surprised us. So do we still have our disagreements about the black pilot line, this, that, and
the black pilot line? That's where he said that he assumes that if a black person is a pilot, that they're probably not qualified. See, he assumed, his whole thing, and this was a repeated thing, is that anyone who is actually, anyone who has been hired under policies that actually ensure some likelihood of meritocracy, also known as like civil rights policies or DEI policies, that anyone who is actually likely to have been at least somewhat hired based on merit probably isn't qualified, whereas people who are hired specifically for being white dudes are automatically qualified. I mean, that is one of his things, and he came back to that in all sorts of ways. I mean, the guy was a fucking white supremacist. He said, so, like, the black pilot line, Jank. Maybe say what that is.
Of course we do, right? But
hey, Riveroo.
When we started talking about corporate rule, he agreed.
No, he didn't. Motherfucker, let's just leave this for a second, because it's hilarious on both levels. Because both of these motherfuckers are corporate funded. You think that a talentless shithead, like, the tiny face Nazi Kvex, you think that motherfucker becomes a millionaire without fucking billionaire backing? No, he fucking doesn't. Like, so, yeah, I would imagine they both agree on corporate rule in the sense that they both know, that they both know better than to admit that they are agents of it to audiences that, at least in part, think that isn't necessarily a great thing. Oh, this is Jank on fucking Charlie Kirk talking to fucking Tucker Carlson. I mean, it is not a very fresh hell. It's a stale hell.
And I remember, like, I want to go back and watch the first interview we did with him at the RNC there, because I was kind of shocked by it. It's like, really? You're also worried about corporations having too much power and
oh God, like, clearly he's not, though. If you actually, like, you look at what he proposes and you look at where his money comes from, clearly he is not. See, I mean, and this is the whole thing. This is why this is like this whole subgrift that Jank has been doing, that TYT have been doing, is such bullshit. Because again, if you want to actually, the thing to do would be to engage these pricks' audiences and point out how full of shit they are, and how they are very much not on the side of the people that they're grifting from. But instead, he goes on there and validates this asshole's self-presentation.
Right? Because
yeah, I mean, look at fucking Tucker is laughing his ass off because he knows it's his side that benefits from this. Look at him. Look at him fucking chuckling like fucking Rumpelstiltskin over there.
Tucker, you can understand.
Yeah, he understands better than you do, Jenk. He definitely understands. This is why he wants you on there. Because you help him.
Left-wing position for a long time in this country.
It was.
But the
No, it wasn't really. I mean, the thing is, okay, I mean, even if you go back to like the anti-globalization movement and stuff, you had far-right people in there, because when you put it in those sorts of vague terms, then you know, corporate rule or whatever, without really talking about systems, without really talking about structures, you can get all sorts of dodgy motherfuckers who see a point of entry. I mean, that's how you ended up with like some Nazis in Occupy, for example. That's why you ended up with all sorts of dodgy right libertarian pricks and End the Fed assholes in there too, because it is such vague language. So yeah, I mean, when you put it that vaguely, like, I mean, this is like saying, oh, you know, there's this new German politician. I mean, he was originally Austrian, but he's German now. He got naturalized. And I was listening to him, and he was talking about the power of the banks, and it's like, wow, I thought that was a left-wing position, but this guy, he's a conservative commentator. You know, it's like, yeah, when you talk about it in this way, because the whole fucking fash grift, one of the key things is to sound like you're giving a critique of capitalism without ever actually doing that, because you are trying to direct people away from a critique of capitalism. Yeah.
Battle has been joined. And
no, it
so
hasn't. That's not what the battle has been joined means. The battle has been joined means that that an opponent has joined. Well, that means you throw down the gauntlet and someone picks it up and you know, accepts your challenge to fight them.
An incredible development in American politics.
No, it isn't. You can go back. Christ, I swear, like a little bit of history, just a little bit of history as a treat. You can find far-right groups doing this shit all the way back to the late 19th century, actually. Like, this is nothing new.
That mainstream media, I think, has chosen to ignore because it's inconvenient for them.
Well, I mean, it is inconvenient. Well, first of all, how is he not mainstream media at this point?
Then we got into a specific topic, which was...
Oh, wow, we get to have a specific.
Banning private equity from buying residential real estate. And the idea behind that is...
Okay, and this is one of those, it's one of those remarkably specific things. Like, why just private equity, though? Like, any other company's fine, any other banks are fine, just private equity? The problem, private equity's bad. But the reason that residential real estate is so fucking expensive... he did. Bush did indeed. The reason it's so expensive, a big part of it, is precisely that any entity, any person or entity who has enough money can just buy it up and then just force the prices up and develop oligopoly pricing power. Like, so just banning private equity, I mean, the thing is, these companies, capitalists invented private equity. It's like gun manufacturers and the sort of gun restrictions liberals come up with that they think are so clever. They'll be like, oh, yeah, you know, they'll define an assault weapon in a particular way and it has particular characteristics. And the companies within a year will come up with guns that do not meet that definition but do all the same shit. And it's the same thing. You buy on private equity, it's going to come up in another form. They'll call it something different. And it'll be just nominally different enough that you can pretend that it's not that a court will pretend it's not that, and a regulator will pretend it's not that, but it's still the same thing. So
private equity is the biggest bankers in the world, basically. They're the biggest financial institutions. And they've started to buy all of our homes. Now, that creates a huge number of problems. Number one, it drives up housing prices. That is why they are artificially high, because so much more demand has come into the market.
And well, I mean, no, it's not that so much more demand has come into the market. I mean, if this were a straight-up supply-demand thing, there's way more housing available than there is demand for new housing. That's not the issue. The issue is that it's not profitable to rent it out or sell it at certain prices. And so if you have enough money, you can just buy up so much of it that you can force the prices up and get it at an acceptable rate of profit for yourself. That's the issue.
I went to Wharton Business School, so this is not complicated, though. This is Econ 101, supply and demand.
No, I mean, except if this is not Econ 101, this is why Econ 101 does not actually teach you to understand how the economy works. Because Econ 101 tries to treat everything as these idealized systems because it is fundamentally capitalist propaganda.
Right. And so, secondly, the number one wealth creation asset that the American family has is their homes.
Yeah, and that's a problem, actually. That is actually part of the problem, because the thing is, if housing inflation is the main guarantee of your economic stability, if the fact that housing prices just keep going up, I mean, it's interesting. In the US, they call them property values. In Britain, they just say house prices, which I think is way more honest. Because it's not that the value has in any meaningful way gone up. It's not that the property has gotten better somehow. If anything, it's becoming older and more decrepit and will require more work. In fact, in Japan, I didn't know this until recently, the older a property is, the cheaper you can get it for. You'll sometimes see these stories about how you can get a house in some part of Japan. They don't tell you how remote and inaccessible it is, which is precisely why there's no takers for it for really cheap. But the thing is, but the prices actually go down over time until somebody like rebuilds it or does some sort of real, very thorough refurb, because the asset, the actual property that's been built on the land, is not as good as it once was, because it's been used and experienced wear and tear, and there have been earthquakes and stuff. So the fact that people's economic stability depends on house prices continuing to go up is a big part of the problem, because that means the people who don't have houses, the people who are looking for someplace to live, are going to find them getting more and more expensive. And if you just cause house prices to tank, then a lot of people who, indeed, their entire economic stability is riding on the ability to draw credit on their home equity are going to be screwed. But at the same time, a lot of other people will be able to finally buy houses from them for cheap. And I mean, the whole problem is that you have the housing is a fucking commodity. As long as housing is a fucking commodity, this is gonna happen. You can call it private equity, you can ban it in whatever way you want. As long as this is the function, that housing has this function other than just, being a place to live, you're gonna have this kind of problem to some extent.
That is how we created the greatest middle class the world has ever seen. And they're taking that from us.
And what makes them the greatest middle class, though? Because, I mean, in terms of things like economic victories, wages, benefits, and stuff like that, I mean, they didn't do as well as a lot of places. I mean, the U.S. has never actually exceeded, say, the social wages of, Western European countries at their height, for example, because the working class has just never actually managed to conquer certain horizons. Hola, Tomás, ¿cómo estás?
Turn us all into renters, and then we're going to be indentured servants to them.
I mean, as long as I don't think that that it's the renting that actually so much does that, though. I mean, that's just the way capitalism works. I mean, if you're doing wage labor, I mean, it's not indentured servitude. I mean, there are obviously big differences as well, but you're still very much beholden to some kind of capitalist to pay you money to do some kind of work, and they're going to have you somewhat over a barrel unless you get organized and actually challenge their power and overthrow them, maybe.
Okay. And the way that they are doing this is they are giving collectively billions of dollars to our politicians. So this issue connects, actually, the money in politics issue connects to everything.
Yeah, I mean, and how much money was Charlie Kirk getting from whom? How much money are you getting from whom? I mean, this is the thing. You can talk about the money that politicians get, and it's true. This country is bent as fuck in that regard. But you can look at countries that have much stricter campaign finance regulations. I mean, it's hard to find a country that has less strict campaign finance regulations than the U.S. You can practically just hand motherfuckers envelopes here. Yeah, you can just do shit with politicians in the U.S. that you would absolutely get arrested for in, like, normal places. But the thing is, as long as rich people own the economy, they're always going to be able to put their finger on the scales.
Connects to corporate rule, it connects to capitalism, by the way, which I want to give...
you think it connects to capitalism?
Back to. Connects to Israel, because it isn't about Israel or any other particular lobby being evil or dastardly or in charge.
Yeah, I mean, now he's confusing the shit out of Tucker, which, I mean, admittedly isn't hard to do. But he's confusing the shit out of me, too, because I thought, were we ever going to... This was something that he was saying to fucking... to Kvex.
It's the money that's in charge. And so if Big Pharma, Pfizer, Johnson & Johnson, etc., give money to our politicians, well, then they pass absurd laws, like we're not allowed to negotiate drug prices.
Right.
What in the world? In capitalism, you're not...
Well, yeah, that's the thing. In capitalism, the people who control the capital get to decide what happens.
Not allowed to negotiate prices?
Like, wait till he hears about how workers have to deal with things in capitalism. Wait till he hears about adhesion contracts. Like, how many actual transactions are negotiated in day-to-day capitalism? Like, you buy some fucking software, you buy a game off of Steam, you know, and there's that contract that nobody reads, and everybody clicks the thing saying that they have read it carefully, and we're all fucking lying, and everybody knows it's a lie, and the courts know it's a lie. Everybody knows it's a lie. This is why, technically, courts are supposed to treat these sorts of contracts differently, because everybody knows nobody read the fucking thing. But no, there was no negotiation. We didn't get to bargain with them. That was just handed to us, take it or leave it. Like, the number of transactions where there's actual negotiation in capitalism in the real world is minuscule. Okay, I've never heard of One Dime or Benjamin Studebaker, but I have seen his cars, and they are beautifully designed.
Right?
I know.
So, and we talked about that, and he said, you're right, that is absurd. And we on the right already believe that.
Yeah, we all know which part. I mean, you said a whole bunch of stuff. And if they on the right already believe that, why are you doing the exact opposite? Like, why are you deregulating everything if you already believe that? Like, what the... I mean... Hey, Badger, how you doing? God, I mean... Make it make sense, Jank.
That it's absurd, and that it's against capitalism. Fantastic!
But it isn't against capitalism. It is absurd, and... Like, they've been advocating to make it worse.
So, look, you're right. We've been around a long time on the Young Turks. We were actually the longest running show in internet history. And in that time, we've been on for 23 years. We've had about 21 to 22 years of hardened battle, right?
I mean, hardened battle with what, though? I mean, at this point, it seems like mostly hardened battle with your audience.
Fighting back and forth, right? And as anybody who's seen me online knows, I can get emotional. I can get passionate.
Oh, yeah. I mean, especially when you're explaining why you need to be, like, sucking up to Nazis and saying shitty things about trans people.
Yeah.
And I'm not a wilting flower. I fight back, for sure, right? So...
Well, not against
what was amazing, though, was... all of a sudden I didn't have to fight back. That on those issues, not every...
Wow. God, this guy is such a cheap date. Here's the thing. If you put things in very broad terms, then yeah, you can find all sorts of agreement with all sorts of people. It's like if you say, oh, we want peace. This is why Zionists are always trying to make things about peace when they talk about Palestine. Because peace sounds good. Everybody could agree to peace. But what the fuck is peace? What does peace mean to specific people? I mean, I as an anarchist myself, I would say if you're an anarchist and you're not radical, then you're probably, there's some sort of an ideological contradiction going on. I mean, if we're talking, because it is about changing things from the root. So, fundamentally, I mean, I don't think that anarchism as an approach to social change can be described as anything but radical. I don't think that radical is a bad thing either. Are you saying Studebaker says that is using it negatively?
Issue, and not on all the culture wars. But on these economic issues, we have been...
and this is some other bullshit. Here we go. This idea that there's the culture wars and there's economic issues. Like, whether trans people can actually exist in public is somehow not an economic issue. Unless you're trans and you want to have a job and you want to, like, actually participate in society, then it's an economic issue. If you are queer and you get fired for it, that's an economic issue. If you're, if racism means cops are targeting you for asset forfeiture that's going to be an economic issue too, because that's going to affect your ability to get employment. It's going to affect your ability to hold on to what you've got. It's going to these things are life or death economic issues. Every single one of them has an economic component, and pretending that you can sort of separate whether trans people or whatever have like basic civil rights and stuff from economic issues is just complete bullshit. I mean, and to me, the thing about the term extremist is when you have extremist without any kind of qualifier, like any descriptive addition, it's just a meaningless term. Like, what... when you add something like left-wing extremist or right-wing extremist, then it can actually mean something. I don't think it's a useful term, but at least it's got content. But when you just say extremist, like, that doesn't actually mean anything.
Gun to agree. And why? Because
you phrase things in an extremely vague way.
Average guy is getting screwed.
Yes.
Period.
Yeah, and therefore that. Like, when you look at the proposals that they support, therefore that. Like, the reason that guys like Fex spend all their time inciting violence against marginalized working class people and blaming marginalized working class people for their audience's problems. The whole reason they do that is to protect rich fuckers who pay them their salaries.
It doesn't matter if you're on the left or the right, you're both going to get screwed. you're both going to have higher housing prices.
Well, except, see, this is just so silly. Because the thing is, if you actually... I mean, this is why having no class analysis leads you to say silly, silly things. Because the thing is, you look at the people on the right, a big part of... one thing that you notice is they tend to be better off economically. Like, Trump voters have a much higher median income than the national median. We should not be shocked by this, because they're going for somebody who is very clearly not even pretending to have any interest other than making rich people richer. So yeah, I mean, people who are better off are going to be are going to feel more comfortable there, because those are the people who are going to be worried about other people coming up and possibly, you know, having to share with them. It's also not surprising that you tend to find more opinions on the left end of the spectrum when you start looking at people who are broke. Because, I mean, why? Obviously, and you know, a complex of ideologies that are largely that have at their core ending poverty and ending the system that keeps poor people poor is going to be more interesting to people who are actually experiencing the business end of poverty. Like, I mean, you can't just pretend that these things are completely divorced from the realities in which they're taking place.
You're both going to have lower wages. You're both going to have higher drug prices, and the people that brought you that.
Yeah. The thing is that you're both going to have higher drug prices, but some people are going to be much better able to pay those. And the people who are better able to pay those, who are less likely to actually consider that a problem that affects them in their daily lives, are the people who are going to be more likely to support politicians who want to actually allow these companies to just put the prices through the roof and price gouge as they do.
It's the donor class. And so when we agreed to that, then I said, okay.
Yeah, oh yeah, he's totally against the donor class. I mean, fucking both of them. You talk about the donor class. I mean, he's bankrolled by poly markets. Yeah, his studio used to be the People's Studio, and now it's the fucking Polymarket Studio. And, you know, you don't get to be a millionaire as a talentless racist hack without having some extremely rich backing. Like, all of this is just a big fucking grift. All of this is funded by fucking billionaires, and it is insulting to actually pretend otherwise.
Well, now conversation has become productive. We're not just yelling at each other. For the first time ever, we are talking to one another, and more importantly, we are listening to one another.
Wow, I mean, the conversation is productive. I mean, but you can listen to what they're saying beyond just fucking platitudes that they use to fucking scam the unwary. Christ.
So we did it again at the DNC. And then Charlie invited me to America Fest, and I went there, and again, we disagreed on gun rights, we disagreed on some trans issues.
Like, why don't you talk about what Charlie has to say about trans people? Why didn't you talk about that? I mean, and of course, it's easy for him to just write this off as an academic disagreement, because it does not affect him personally. I mean, in fact, when he has no personal reason to give a fuck. I mean, that Charlie Kirk says that trans people ought to be killed.
But we wound up agreeing on Dick Cheney and Mitch McConnell, for example.
Oh, wow. They're fucking soulmates.
Yeah. Neither one of us like them. Like either one of them.
I agree.
Oh, wow. Jesus. Like, okay, but do you dislike them for the same reason, for example? And let's just remember that when Charlie Kirk was kind of explicit about this, that when he talks about donors, he's very specifically talking about Jews. Which is something, I mean, like that Tucker could probably get with. Even though Charlie is the sort of hate Jews, love Israel sort, and Tucker is the sort of reactionary who doesn't like either.
Tucker, I'll say this, and there's a lot more to talk about in that context, but
God, please,
if you
don't
told
spare
me
us.
you are going to go to a massive right-wing conference in the year 2025,
I mean, I think that's the only kind of conference he goes to, actually.
And what's going to happen is the crowd in unison is going to boo Dick Cheney. If you told me...
Wait, okay, this motherfucker's been on the scene for ages. And he's telling us he does not remember how during the 2008 Republican National Conference, in fact, their entire campaign that year was all about, like, basically pretending George W. Bush didn't exist. Their midterms were about pretending George W. Bush didn't exist. Like, their whole thing was trying to get out from under the Bush administration because they realized it was a toxic legacy. It's why they ultimately ended up doing the Tea Party. To have something else to talk about, because they couldn't actually sell the toxic legacy of George W. Bush to people who had just got done experiencing it. So, I mean, if you were to tell me that a bunch of right-wingers hate Dick Cheney, I would not be all that surprised, because I remember that, because, like, Cenk, I'm old enough that I remember the RNC that year in 2008, and I remember how toxic those names were, even amongst right-wingers.
That when we first started the Young Turks and we're railing against Dick Cheney, don't go in Iraq, don't go in Iraq, Cheney's lying, right? And people are yelling back, support the troops, you're for Saddam and all this stuff. If you told me, oh, don't worry, in 20 some odd years, that crowd will be booing Dick Cheney.
Yeah, I mean, it wasn't 20 some, it was like, seriously, literally by 2008.
And that crowd will be booing Mitch McConnell because they realize that...
Well, maybe it's because Mitch McConnell is just a completely uninspiring motherfucker. Like, just because they agree with what he does doesn't mean he's impressive, because he's just deeply unimpressive. The only thing he's got going for him, and he doesn't even use it to greatest advantage, is that he looks like he's secretly a turtle. And if all he did was lean into the fact that he looks like he's secretly a turtle, and didn't do all this other shit, he would be beloved. But he's just an unimpressive motherfucker. And it is possible you can actually find yourself in agreement with somebody on a lot of things and still think that they're an unimpressive prick. I mean, that happens. So that doesn't mean anything. Like, what? Like, you can dislike a politician for all sorts of reasons. That doesn't mean that they're necessarily an ally.
The corporate class, the donor class is in charge, and they hate it. I would have said, oh my God, that must be a beautiful day in America.
God, does he not remember Occupy? Like, object permanence, Cenk. Get some. Like, look at this motherfucker. He is old enough to remember all this stuff. And he's talking about this like this is some sort of new thing. Like, every day for him is the first day in all creation. Like, I mean, like, he did not actually, like, does he pay attention to anything? Does he really not remember this stuff, or is he grifting? And, I mean, I think the answer is yes.
Well, so this is what I admire about you. You're totally sincere about your principles. Like, you...
Yeah, that he does. These are my principles, and if you don't like them, I have others.
You almost don't care who's agreeing with you. You believe in the idea, the principle. So you're...
God, okay. He's getting some mutual glazing here.
You're willing to make common cause with people you don't agree with on everything. You're not partisan. And the second thing I just want to say it out loud.
I mean, and the wild thing is, when he says that, when I heard like TYT start just joining, endorsing far right narratives on trans people and stuff like that, I immediately thought, and I believe I actually said this on stream, if you go back to when Anna-Transphobian started saying all that shit, that was a signal that we were going to start hearing more explicit, like, transphobic shit from the Democrats. Because he is very plugged into that sphere. Like, he's totally nonpartisan, but he's like a Democrat through and through. And he's a fairly influential one. And I thought that it was probably reasonable to treat him as something of a bellwether on this. And what do you know? He was one. By the 2024 campaign, you had Democrats just, not even trying to present themselves as supporting trans people.
Is that Young Turks, whatever you think of your politics, has had a stated commitment to nonviolence from the very beginning, and you mean it. And
what does that even mean?
And I just want to say that for people who don't know that.
Which is really kind of interesting because, I mean...
And I want to thank you for that, because I think it's really important. And
yeah, I mean, I would imagine that a fascist thinks that it is very important that nominal opponents of fascism remain nonviolent. I am not really surprised there. I mean, this is like a spider telling a fly, I really admire, we don't agree on everything. We do, you got your principles. I've seen them. I've seen the other ones too. But I just love that you're willing to give every web a chance. You don't rule out going into any web. You've come into my web right here, and I love you for it. I think it is great that what you're doing. You are a role model for all flies. Thank you for coming to my web. I mean...
Anyway, but so let me ask you, how were you treated at AmFest, at Charlie's event?
Yeah. By the way, thank you for saying that, Tucker. And the principle of nonviolence extends through everything.
Really? Everything? So, I mean, because I remember you guys being very big on cops. I seem to remember you always shitting over the idea of defunding the police. So it seems like maybe you're not so firm on the nonviolence thing as you're saying here. Because that is the thing about the police, is they're kind of violent.
So do not be violent to each other. Violence is intellectual surrender. That's saying I can't win the debate with my mind. So
he's not trying to turn them left by cheerleading them. He's just trying to... he's just doing a grift. It's like... I mean, and it is so... Yeah... God. Okay, I need to think about this for a second to just think for what word I'm looking for. But it is because what he's doing here is very much what like leading Democrats are doing. Like, in 2016 they did this thing where they pretended to be against fascism, and it was pathetic. They were hashtag the resistance, and then they would shit all over anyone who actually did any resisting. Because, I mean, obviously, they didn't mean it. But... And this time, it's all, let's find dialogue, let's work together with them, let's not do anything to get in their way, certainly. And that is very much where Cenk is.
You have to act like an animal and try to defeat that person physically, but that means you're surrendering and you're giving up.
Okay, let's just apply this more generally. So do you think that we should not have acted like an animal with Hitler, for example?
The most immoral thing you could do. It's also the weakest thing you could do.
Yes, I agree.
He agrees.
But that's not just on an individual level. That's also on a societal level. So when we go to war, that is in a sense weakness. Saying we could not use our minds to resolve this issue.
Well, no, that's not really what it's saying. It's saying it's not a matter of using our minds to resolve the issue. The U.S. Invades other countries because they want things that the other countries cannot give to them. that the U.S. actually wants things that no self-respecting country would ever hand them. And so when somebody says no, the only thing the U.S. has is force. Because if the U.S. tried to rule by persuasion, I mean, they'd be just completely isolated. Because the U.S. is actually, fighting is surrender, apparently. And unless you're a cop, in which case fighting is apparently good. I don't...
We could not resolve this issue as fellow human beings, so now we're going to kill each other.
Well, I mean, but the thing is, with the issue with the U.S. is always, we want your shit, and the country that they're saying it to says, yeah, but you can't have it. It's our shit. We want it. And the U.S. So there is no coming to terms there. I mean, it's either that or you need to pay your protection, and another country saying, no, we're not doing that anymore. It all comes down to that one way or another. Those are the two big themes. And the thing is, those are situations where either you can back down, which would be the right thing to do, because the U.S. is demanding things that they have absolutely no right to, or it's going to be a fight, because you're going to be fighting, because you're demanding things that the other side cannot give. There is no meeting of the minds there. This isn't a disagreement that you can compromise on.
Yeah. So that is why we're anti-war, and that is why one of the most encouraging developments of my life is how anti-war the right-wing movement has become.
Well, I mean, really. I mean, the right-wing movement. You mean the right-wing movement that has started a war with Venezuela? Because, I mean, when you... I think this is probably obvious, but I sometimes find that things that are obvious to me are not always obvious to everyone. But when you bomb the civilian vessels of a country you're not at war with, that is generally thought of as an act of war. The U.S. the U.S. has started a war with Venezuela, and the only reason that has not actually meant much of anything is that probably Venezuela knows better than to respond in kind and end up getting, because even if the U.S. probably would not have an appetite to really fight that directly, especially with the recruiting problems and everything, and they're kind of spread a bit thin, the U.S. Air Force could still just completely devastate the country.
So that another great day in America. So it's still plenty of things we disagree on.
Yes.
But agreeing on anti-war, agreeing on...
But you don't agree on anti-war. I mean, and I look at Tucker's eyes, because Tucker's also wondering what planet he's from, I think. Because if the right, because one of the things that Tucker Carlson got, I think, way more praise for than he ever deserves for anything, was him specifically taking Ted Cruz to task on Iran, which is something that if there were if journalism were a thing in the U.S., that would just be a normal thing. You get these you get politicians on who want to start a war with somebody, and you say, okay, what do you know about this country you want to start a war with? What, I'm supposed to know things about a country before I start war with them? What are you talking about? Wow, you're a completely unserious person. Goodbye. But clearly he knows perfectly well how non-anti-war the right-wing movement is, because there's a whole conflict. We were watching a thing because I was curious what the fuck this meant about the woke right, and he is supposedly an example of the woke right. And the one thing that the woke right supposedly is, they seem to be the ones who don't think every single war the U.S. starts is wonderful. And the point is, there is obviously a big conflict in the right-wing movement, if we're going to call it that, over this. And Carlson knows it perfectly well. And so hearing this guy talk about it, it's like when liberals in the U.S., It's like me when liberals in the U.S. start talking about how Germany does such a great job dealing with Nazis because they got laws on the books that say it's not legal to be a Nazi and stuff. And I get this look in my eyes too because it's like, wow, you really don't know anything about this.
How the donor class is robbing both of us blind. I mean, those are huge developments, right? So now, how is
But
it?
they're not developments, though.
I've got to be honest with you, and so the reason why I preface it by saying I got to be honest with you is because sometimes when we go and talk to the right wing, and as you said, we haven't moved on a thing, right? So
yeah,
folks
you haven't moved on a thing. I mean, you can actually. Does he understand that there is video? He has a YouTube channel, and you can go back and look at old videos on things. Because, in fact, that was one of the things when they had Dave Rubin and Anna Transphobia denounced Dave Rubin quite accurately as just a fascist grifter or whatever she called him, which was true. It's what he is. And now she's like sucking up to him and everything. Or how she denounced, pointed out that the whole birthing people bullshit is just a right-wing talking point to incite violence against trans people. And then 11 months later, she's sitting here pretending to be angry that somebody used the words birthing people. Like, yeah, they haven't moved an inch.
Us, and I have a simple principle: take the win. Okay,
take the win. Exactly.
What win? There's no win to take.
Like, so, okay, now you agree with me that anti-war is the right position.
See, and again, well, look at the eye narrowing here. The facial expressions are interesting. Because, I mean, one thing that you can say about Tucker Carlson is that he certainly had been part of the internal discussion of the far right for a long time. And so him hearing positions that have been espoused on the far right for a long time, being treated as some sort of recent win. I mean, he knows that's not true. I mean, he knows that he's getting shit from other sectors of the far right now. In fact, like,
is my correct answer that I still hate you? No, that is not the correct answer.
But I mean, but they still hate you is the thing. That.
The correct answer is, oh, thank God. All right,
exactly.
Right, and now we'll work on the next thing.
Wow, that was quite a fake laugh right there from Tucker.
But for now, at least, we had no agreements before. Now we have a number of really important agreements.
Yeah. See, I don't think he's laughing with him.
So, but nevertheless, I had my share of critics on the left. You're platforming him.
Well, I mean, platforming him was just not even the worst of it. I mean, you're fucking glazing him.
I went to his conference.
Yeah, that's worse, actually. You went to his conference and you validated him. That's what sucked. That sucked worse. Again, there's like literally one thing that could have been done that would have been good if you went to the fucking the white nationalist conference, and that is to just utterly pants these pricks in front of their audience and say, look, these are a bunch of millionaires who are grifting you, and actually they don't think very highly of their audience at all. They've been lying their asses off the whole time. They're part of what's making you so miserable. I mean, that's the one thing that would be useful to do in that context. And instead he sucked up to him.
I wasn't platforming him, he was platforming me, right?
Yeah.
And second of all, stop with all the nonsense talk of platforming people. Okay?
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, I mean, let's stop talking about, like, giving people platforms, because Cenk wants to platform fascists, and so we really shouldn't have that principle.
Just listen to one another.
The thing is, you can listen to these assholes without actually bringing them on your show to propagandize. Like, I'm listening to these assholes right now and commenting on them. I didn't need to bring them on my show. Like, to the extent that, I mean, I know they're really hurting because I got 410 subscribers now. Like, thank you to all of you. It's taken me, like, I think 4 years to get this far. And I'm sure it's really hurting them that they're not getting to, like, talk directly to my 410 subscribers. But it's a matter of fucking principle. Because the thing is, you can look at what these assholes say and talk about it without having to bring them on to allow them to, like, fucking manipulate your audience.
Talk to one another. That's not a bad thing. That's a good thing. Oh, but what if you disagree?
I don't think that is the objection people are raising. I think that is... But what if you disagree?
And?
But what if they want to have your entire ethnic group murdered? What if they incite violence against people like you? And you could not say, oh, we've got link spam, hello link spam, and goodbye link spam. God damn it, my mouse. It's weird.
Of course you're going to disagree.
Well, I mean, it's just that some people... It's not so much a disagreement they have to worry about. It's that, like, they wouldn't necessarily come out of that situation alive.
America, we're free. We have... No two human beings are the same.
God, shut the fuck up. Like, the platitudes. The platitudes.
Of course we're going to disagree on some issues. So if you can't handle that...
On some issues, like whether trans people get to exist.
Then you can't handle politics, you can't handle media, you can't handle America, right?
I mean, honestly, I don't think anyone can really handle America. And I think that the people who think that they can are the people least suited to doing it. I don't think anyone can handle this fucking mass of whatever the fuck this is.
So, okay, so with that giant preface, I'll say, the people there, honestly, were universally wonderful.
Wow. Isn't that so interesting? They liked getting sucked off.
So...
I mean, yeah, Tucker understands. I mean, when you're getting a hand job, you want to be nice to the person giving it. Because you want more hand jobs. Tucker's getting one right now.
They were, and so you could say, oh, well, you know, haha, that means Jenkson with the right wing.
Well, yes, that is exactly what it fucking means. The thing is, I actually think he believes all this bullshit. I think he convinces himself of all of this crap. He is that flexible. I can totally buy that.
No, I'm just telling you what happened. If they were jerks, I would tell you that they were jerks.
I mean, is it possible that jerks were wonderful to you, Cenk? Maybe because Cenk is jerk. Maybe, you know...
But they weren't.
Well, could it be that maybe they're actually really shitty to other people who are not you?
Okay. And I've got to say, like... This cancel culture.
Like, why the fuck would they be jerks to... Like, I mean, they have absolutely nothing to gain from being shitty to him. I have to say, if they were shitty to him, I do not trust Cenk to tell us. But I also don't think they had anything to gain from being shitty to him. Because what he's doing is trying to create... what he's doing here is helping to mainstream fascism to liberals. That is what he's doing. And they understand the value of that. That's why they're so big on debate. That's why they want everyone to fucking debate them. Because they understand that it legitimizes them, that it helps to mainstream them. So yeah, they have every reason to be nice to this dickhead for now.
it's not exclusively left wing.
No, I know. Tell me about it. I mean, the efforts that some people made to keep me from speaking at the next TPUSA thing, people I agree with on a lot.
Yeah, I mean, this is why he was narrowing his eyes about hearing how anti-war the right is, because he knows perfectly well that he gets a lot of shit from other right-wingers for actually being opposed to a lot of U.S. imperial policy for his very racist reasons.
A lot of things, by the way. I don't disagree with Seth Dillon on everything, Mr. Free Speech guy trying to cancel me, but I was like shocked by it. Like they really hassled Charlie and just drove him to,
Well, I mean, does Jenk realize that this is a total refutation of everything he was talking about how wonderfully anti-war the right are and shit?
Really fret and drove him to anxiety over this. Oh, no. That impulse is a human impulse, and we need to resist it.
Yeah, so I love what you guys said about hate speech and how it's unacceptable to pass laws on that.
It's not acceptable.
Well, I wonder if the reason that they... Well, I wonder if the reason they feel it's unacceptable is they like to engage it.
Yeah, under no circumstances. So, and this is what I say on that topic. So, Charlie says some things about Islam that, having grown up Muslim, I'm atheist now, but my family's Muslim. My background.
Well, yeah, I mean, like where he said that there is a Muslim world conspiracy, and Zohar Mamdani is gonna be like Islamizing your children and shit. I mean, like, yeah, he says some things about Islam, like, yes, inciting fucking violence against Muslims and anyone who looks like one. That's kind of fucked up, actually, don't you think?
As Muslim, I'm proud of it. He said some things about Islam that I was not a fan of, right?
Could you give some examples? Like, this is the thing: the people who are the liberals who are trying to whitewash his legacy will never, never ever quote him, because if you quote him, it kills the effort. The minute you quote him, you cannot whitewash him. I mean, Ta-Nehisi Coates has a piece in Vanity Fair, which is paywall, but I imagine archive.is has it. It looks really good. I was listening to the Majority Report before I went on, and they were reading some bits from it, pointing out, like, this is a standard technique. Like, a lot of the biggest white supremacist assholes who have statues of them in the U.S., the way that they were lionized was also by just avoiding most of what they ever said, by just never quoting them directly, by mentioning maybe a couple of platitudes that they once said, but never actually getting into the detailed prescriptions of their ideas of how society should be run. And this is exactly what's going on now.
To say the least.
I bet.
So you know what I did in return? I made my case. So what? Right? Like, why is this so, debilitating?
Why is it bad to... What is even debilitating? What is, debilitating to who? I don't think that the incitement of violence against Muslims is debilitating to the people doing it. I mean, being the brunt of that violence can be debilitating to those who experience it. I mean, ask Mahmoud Khalil, for example, just how this is all just words. You have a whole bunch of Muslims who've just been sort of grabbed once again by ICE over over things that they said, or not even that. You think that maybe the anti-Muslim incitement probably has some effect on them?
If someone says something that you find offensive, I've said things.
It's not about what you find offensive. It's about literally inciting violence against people.
I'm sure others have found offensive. You have, Charlie has, Megan has. So what? Then you say something back.
Well, yes, but what you always say is, "Can I please come on your show, sir?"
Okay, we don't cancel, we don't kill.
Well, they do. Like, I mean, a lot, actually. We're gonna just pretend that oh, that's right. He goes on Tucker Carlson. He's gonna pretend that that doesn't happen. We're gonna just kind of pretend. We're gonna just ignore the fact that the mass shooters are overwhelmingly connected to fascist circles. We're going to just pretend that fascist violence isn't a regular feature of our society.
And killing is the most extreme form of cancel culture.
What the fuck did I just hear?
So I despise cancel culture, and I have the honor of having been canceled by almost every part of the political spectrum.
Which, I mean, already demonstrates how that means nothing. Because he's still an extremely well-paid propaganda mouthpiece. Like, what the fuck did canceling mean? He means criticized. He was criticized. Also, like, with all the money you got from fucking Polymarkets, Jenk, you'd think you could get your autofocus to work. I mean, he is only slightly less blurry than the ring light in his background. Like, the camera is cringing so much it will not focus on him. I mean, I've got this in HD, and he looks like he was recorded in about 1995.
No. Man, that was really inspiring. And
you should never, ever, ever feel good to hear that Tucker Carlson say that you said something inspiring.
And I'm gonna text back the person who texted me and say, "Did you watch that?"
Wow, yeah, like seriously. I mean, we were watching some dark money recipients like slag off Tyler Lorenz because Tucker Carlson and Candace Owens were sarcastically claiming to like her in the context of saying that she was crazy for believing that infectious diseases exist. For like acknowledging that COVID is a reality. And they were trying to make that into, oh, he's fucking friends with, she's fucking friends with Tucker Carlson. And that was bullshit. This on the other hand, this is what that actually looks like.
That was wonderful. And I so appreciate you're doing this.
Wow. See, you should never that should always make you feel sick to your stomach.
Thank you, and I hope you don't take too much abuse for it.
Wow. I mean, I guess I'm helping to make that a vain hope.
I'm sure you will, but I guess you don't care, so good for you. Thank you.
That'll bounce off me so quick.
It'll bounce off like the light rays from the really bad audio. Like, you can just adjust it manually too. Like, what the fuck camera is he using?
There's one last thing, Tucker.
Yes.
I mean, the idea of making laws against hate speech in honor of Charlie Kirk.
No, I know.
I mean, is he going to accidentally have a point here? Because yes, if you were to make those sorts of laws in honor of Charlie Kirk, you would actually be outlawing his entire political career.
Oh, I know.
Okay, that's like if I passed away and they're like, in honor of Cenk, we're all going to go on a diet.
Tell me about it. Or the Tucker Carlson no pizza law? No.
Wow, yeah. I mean, that's about right. Charlie Kirk loved hate speech, though, like I love pizza. That's about there's your soundbite.
Oh, I agree.
Some people like pizza. Some people like telling vicious lies about marginalized groups of people in order to get them killed. People have different tastes. That's what it's all about. Everybody's different, you see. Some people are Nazis, and that's okay.
Come on, that is the opposite of what I've did in my life, and regulating speech is the opposite of what Charlie did in his life.
Well, no, this is such bullshit. Because again, the thing is, the people who are part of the Free Speech for Nazis brigade, some of us were pointing out all along. Many of us were pointing out all along that they were not actually fans of free speech for anyone other than Nazis. And what we're seeing now, like, you're gonna talk about free speech? When did this go on? Like, when was this? September 18th, 2 days ago. When did the Jimmy Kimmel thing? Was that yesterday or is that the day before? And I think it was the day before. So, like, even if Jimmy Kimmel hadn't happened, plenty of people we'd seen lose their fucking jobs, just be unceremoniously kicked out of their jobs for just pointing out facts about Charlie Kirk. And they're going to be talking about fucking free speech and not mention that. Like, that's Jank right there, Mr. Free Speech.
So let's all keep talking to one another. Let's all keep listening to one another, and hopefully use this moment not to create further tragedy, but to begin to end the tragedies.
Yeah, I'm proud to agree with that, really, really strongly. So thank you for saying it.
Yeah, fuck off. Okay, we have, like a minute, and we don't only have a couple of minutes left, but let's just move over. Because apparently Dave Rubin, for all this glazing that's going on, I mean, like, you could get blinded by the fucking shine on these glances. Dave Rubin is blaming Jank for, apparently, according to the Vanguard anyway, and I gotta see that.
Human being, Look, guys, there's two things that I propose. You guys can go back and forth.
Do those headlines imply that Charlie's a racist or a misogynist? Yes or no?
No, now I talk. Now I talk.
Oh, they don't.
Now he talks.
Enough with the accusing and then not letting me talk.
For the second time, this is a bit of a rematch.
Yeah.
Jank versus Dave Rubin, obviously old friends, and at one point Dave Rubin actually worked at
Piers Morgan, who is the presenter of a show called Piers Morgan Uncensored, blocked the serfs today apparently on Twitter.
DYT under Cenk Uygur. That was like the first serious DYT drama, is when Rubin left the Young Turks, and then it really got juicy a couple years later when Anna decided to go to the war pad and open up and expose the reality about why Dave Rubin left the Young Turks. When her telling of the story was because
she went and exposed the reality of why he left, and then only a few years later to just be sucking up to it. He should have just waited. He could have just done the far right thing with them.
And then this might have been like 2013, 2014, around that horrific, about as crazy.
Hell yeah, I haven't seen this yet. I saw that our good friend of the show, Hank, hit
100%. Let's take a look.
Men took white people's spots. Charlie Kirk boasts out here.
I really do fear about what is going on.
Well, Piers, it's not even that it's about his actual opinions.
But it is, and it's about what he did with them.
About the opinions that many thought leaders on the left purport that he has, which are complete lies.
Just because he said things doesn't mean that he said them.
I am in somewhat of a reconciliatory mode here. So
yeah, wow, he's in a reconciliatory mode. He's just, he started out right here by just saying that documented quotes are lies.
I'd like to ask Jank, I have 10 headlines here he has put up about Charlie Kirk. They are on his channel right now, and let's see if Jank believes that these are true. Charlie Kirk says prominent black women took white people's spots.
He literally said that.
Charlie Kirk boasts about his all-white basketball team.
He did that.
Charlie Kirk gives piggish advice to high school girls.
I don't know what that's a reference to, but I'm gonna say sounds probable. And I have to say, I love watching Jank get his own words shoved up his ass.
This is all true, by the way, 100% true.
It's all true, and also to say that, like, even if you don't agree with the analysis, to say that those are any different than the kind of videos that Dave Rubin fucking has made throughout
Dave Rubin just lies about things for a living. He has absolutely no moral high ground to be talking about accuracy here.
Career, like, yeah, Jank makes fun of, or at least used to make fun of fucking idiot right wingers. People like Dave Rubin make fun of who they consider to be idiot left wingers.
Well, I mean, and just marginalized people generally, because he's a white supremacist.
That's just like the name of the fucking game. That's just the industry.
Charlie Kirk gets triggered, declines appearance over pronouns. Charlie Kirk doubles down on women-hating backlash.
Yeah, I mean, all things that he did.
I'm telling you, peers, Charlie Kirk was one of the best human beings I ever met. He did not...
Wow, that does not say much for the human beings that Dave Rubin has met. God, like, what kind of fucking sewer... Like, what kind of... The fucking toilet monsters, what ghoulies has he met that fucking Charlie Kirk is one of the best of them?
Have a bone of racism, misogyny, or anything else in his body. But liars lie, and they gin up otherwise good people. From the little bit we know about this shooter, he had a stable household, he was going to college.
What he means is that he had a fascist household.
He was fine. We'll find out where he got right.
He actually dropped out of university.
And again, to act like Charlie Kirk isn't the one who obviously was doing that role, playing that role of ginning up and, you know, radicalizing otherwise normal, decent people. That was literally Charlie Kirk's whole fucking job. And I'm not...
Yeah, I mean, and he wasn't even all that good at it. He just got a big platform. Like, literally, I mean, it's true of him, it's true of Crowder, it's true of Pim Tool, it's true of all these fuckers. Every shitty sports bar in North America has at least one or two guys who every night do exactly what those guys do, as well as they do it. Because what they do is not particularly hard. It requires no knowledge, it requires no skill, it just requires that you have no shame. Okay, but it is time to wrap up for tonight. Have a good night, and I will be back at 11:30 p.m. U.S. Eastern Time tomorrow.